"We need to maintain a certain image," my sister Bianca messaged, the words glowing on my phone's screen like neon judgment. "Maybe next time you can attend a family event when you're more established." I stared at the uninvitation to her wedding. The wedding being held at Rosewood Manor, the venue I'd bought with my first tech patent at 19, the one I'd been running under a shell company while everyone thought I was a struggling freelancer. The message came with a helpful addendum. "Mom and Dad agree it's for the best. We've told everyone you're traveling for work. Less awkward than explaining your situation." My situation. I almost laughed, sitting in my home office overlooking downtown Seattle. 3 monitors displaying the empire I'd built while my family thought I was failing at life. 5 years of letting them believe I was drifting, unemployed, living off ramen and false hope. 5 years of biting my tongue when they offered me pity jobs and condescending advice. I scrolled up through our message history, finding the wedding details. June 15th at Rosewood Manor. Of course it was. Bianca had gushed about the venue for months. "It's so exclusive, they only take referrals," she'd bragged at last Christmas. "The owner is this mysterious recluse who hardly ever approves weddings." We had to name-drop Daddy's connections just to get on the waiting list. I remembered that conversation. I'd been sitting right there, passing the mashed potatoes while she described my venue like it was Buckingham Palace. Mom had added, "It's $50,000 just for the day. But when you're marrying a Vanderbilt, you don't settle for less." "Unlike some people," Uncle James had muttered, looking pointedly at my thrift store sweater. Now I pulled up my property management system. There it was, Bianca Morrison and Alexander Vanderbilt 3, June 15th, Grand Ballroom and Gardens. Approved by E. Whitman, the pseudonym I'd used for all business dealings. They'd paid in full, even added the premium package with the string quartet and champagne fountain. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, this time. Sweetheart, don't take it personally. When you get your life together, there will be other family events. Focus on finding stable employment first." Stable employment. I minimized the property system and pulled up my investment portfolio. Streamline AI, the company I'd founded in my garage, had just closed Series C funding at a $2.8 billion valuation. The 3 patents I held in cloud architecture were generating 7 figures annually in licensing fees. The freelance work they all pitted me for? That was my cover for angel investing in 12 startups, 7 of which had already exited successfully. But they didn't know any of that, because when I'd tried to tell them about my first startup at 21, Dad had laughed. "Playing with computers isn't a career, Celia. Look at your sister, pre-law at Harvard. That's a future." So I'd stopped telling them anything. Let them think I was struggling while I quietly built something real. It was easier than fighting their definition of success: law degree, medical degree, or marriage to old money. Anything else was failure in the Morrison family playbook. I closed my laptop and made a decision. They wanted to maintain a certain image? I'd help them do exactly that. The morning of June 15th arrived with the kind of perfect Seattle weather that cost extra. I should know. I'd paid for the weather insurance myself when I bought the venue. I dressed carefully. The same style of thrift store finds my family expected, but with one addition: my grandmother's sapphire ring, the one piece of jewelry I'd kept when I sold the rest to fund my first startup. I arrived at Rosewood Manor at 6 a.m., using my owner's entrance. My event manager, Stella, was already there with her clipboard and earpiece. "Ms. Morrison," she greeted me, then caught herself. "I mean Ms. Whitman. Your family's in the bride's suite. Your sister is demanding." "I'm sure she is," I said. "Remember, you haven't seen me. I'm not here. Business as usual." "About that," Stella said carefully. "Your sister's been telling everyone she knows the owner personally. That you're old family friends. She's hoping you'll make an appearance for photos." I smiled. "Oh, I'll make an appearance. Just not the one she's expecting." I spent the morning in my office, watching the preparation through security monitors. My family arrived in waves, aunts and uncles who'd spent years asking when I'd get serious about life. Cousins who'd excluded me from group chats because I brought down the vibe with my supposed failures. Then I saw him, James Morrison, my father, the man who'd told me I was wasting my potential every time I chose coding over cocktail parties. He was glad-handing guests, playing the proud father of the successful bride. Mom was beside him, dripping in diamonds, telling anyone who'd listen about Bianca's accomplishments. Such a shame our other daughter couldn't make it. I heard her tell someone near an open window. She's finding herself. At noon, I made my rounds, Not as a guest, but as the owner checking details. I stayed in the background, watching my sister pose for photos in the garden I'd designed, under the arbor I'd had shipped from Italy, next to the fountain I'd restored piece by piece. Everything has to be perfect. I heard her snap at a photographer. Do you know how much this venue costs? How hard it was to book? That's when Stella appeared at her elbow. Ms. Vanderbilt? The owner would like to welcome you personally. She's requesting a moment of your time before the ceremony. Bianca's face lit up. The mysterious E. Whitman wants to meet me? Of course. Alexander, come. We're meeting the owner. They followed Stella through the manor, past the ballroom where 300 guests were gathering, up the marble staircase I'd had restored to its 1920s glory, to the owner's private study. I was standing with my back to them, looking out the window at the grounds when they entered. Ms. Whitman, Bianca gushed. I can't tell you what an honor. I turned around. The silence was absolute. Bianca's mouth fell open. Alexander, who'd never met me but had heard years of stories about the family failure, looked confused. Stella stood by the door, professionally neutral. Hello, Bianca, I said. Congratulations on your wedding. Celia, she whispered. What are you? Why are you here? I own the venue, I said simply. Have for 5 years now. I bought it with the proceeds from my first patent. Fixed it up myself. Well, hired the right people to fix it up. The mysterious E. Whitman? That's Elena Whitman, my grandmother on Mom's side. I thought she'd appreciate having a manor named after her. That's impossible, Bianca said. You're unemployed. You live in a studio apartment. You shop at thrift stores. I do shop at thrift stores, I agreed. Sustainable fashion. And I did live in a studio, while I was renovating the 3rd floor of this building into my private apartment. As for unemployed, I suppose technically I'm self-employed. Several times over. This is a joke, Alexander finally spoke. Some kind of prank. I pulled out my phone and called Stella's number. Her phone rang immediately. Could you bring the ownership documents, please? And perhaps the photos from Architectural Digest when they featured us last year. While we waited, I gestured around the study. I kept most of the original fixtures. That chandelier? French crystal, 1890s. The desk is where F. Scott Fitzgerald allegedly wrote part of a novel while visiting the original owners. Stop, Bianca interrupted. Just stop. You've been lying to us for years. I tried to tell you, I said. 5 years ago, when I got my first patent. Dad laughed. Said playing with computers wasn't a career. So I stopped trying. Stella returned with a leather portfolio. I spread the documents on the desk, deed, business license, tax records, the Architectural Digest feature with my photo. Why? Bianca's voice was small now. Why let us think you were a failure? Because that's what you wanted to think, I said. Every time I tried to share good news, you found a way to diminish it. Startup? Most fail. Patent? Probably won't amount to anything. Investment success? Lucky guess. It was easier to let you believe what you wanted. So you humiliated me on my wedding day? Her voice was rising. You let me brag about booking this venue, knowing you owned it? I approved your booking personally, I said. Gave you a 70% discount, actually. The Vanderbilt name usually commands full price, but I figured family should get some benefit. Alexander's face was turning red. This is fraud. False representation. We'll sue. For what? I asked. For giving you the exact venue you wanted at a fraction of the cost? For ensuring every detail was perfect? Check your contract. E. Whitman Enterprises is the registered owner. Everything's completely legal. Mom and Dad, Bianca started. Don't know yet, I finished. Though I suppose they will soon. Your wedding planner has been live tweeting the event. She just posted about the owner making a special appearance. Hashtag Rosewood Manor is trending. Bianca sank into a chair. You're ruining my wedding. No, I said, sitting across from her. I'm giving you a perfect wedding at a venue you love. I'm just also done pretending to be something I'm not for your comfort. You uninvited me for being unsuccessful. Fine. But you don't get to erase me and then play victim when reality doesn't match your narrative. What do you want? She asked. Nothing, I said. Enjoy your day. Dance in the ballroom I restored. Take pictures in the garden I designed. Toast your future in the champagne fountain I personally selected. I'll stay in my office, out of sight, maintaining the image you need. But after today, we're done with the fiction. All of it. I stood to leave, then turned back. Oh, and the string quartet? They're playing Grandma Elena's favorite songs. I thought she should be here in some way, even if her granddaughters couldn't both be in the same room. I left them there and returned to my office. Through the windows, I watched the ceremony proceed. It was beautiful, I'd made sure of that. Every flower, every note of music, every ray of light through the stained glass was precisely orchestrated. The reception was in full swing when Stella knocked. "Your father's here." "He knows." I found him in the rose garden, standing by the fountain. He looked older than I remembered, grayer. "Tired." "5 years," he said without turning. "You've owned this for 5 years." "Yes." The Architectural Digest article, they mentioned Streamline AI. I looked it up. $3 billion valuation. 2.8, I corrected. "But who's counting?" He finally faced me. "Why didn't you tell me?" "I tried." "You laughed. Said I should be more like Bianca." "That's not. I was trying to help. Guide you toward stability." "I found my own stability," I said. "Just not the kind you recognize." "Celia." He paused, choosing his words. "I owe you an apology." "You owe me more than that," I said. "But I'm not collecting. Consider the venue discount Bianca got my gift to the family. A parting gift." "Parting?" "I'm done, Dad. Done pretending, done shrinking, done apologizing for not fitting your mold. Bianca uninvited me for being unsuccessful. You all agreed it was for the best. So let's stick with that. I'll be the unsuccessful daughter who somehow owns the most exclusive venue in Seattle. You'll be the family that maintains its image. Everyone wins. That's not what I want. What you want stopped mattering when you chose image over truth," I said. "Enjoy the reception. The fireworks start at 9. Bianca mentioned wanting them, so I arranged it. My wedding gift." I left him in the garden and returned to my apartment on the 3rd floor. From my balcony, I could see the reception in full swing. My family celebrating in my space, still probably telling people I was traveling for work. My phone buzzed. A message from my COO. "The Tokyo expansion is approved. When do you fly out?" "Monday," I replied. "I have a wedding to not attend first." Later, as fireworks lit up the Seattle sky, fireworks I'd paid for a sister who couldn't bear to be seen with me, I raised a glass of champagne. To Grandma Elena, who would have loved the irony. To success that doesn't need external validation. To families who teach you, sometimes through their failures, exactly who you want to become. The wedding ended at midnight. By 12:30, Rosewood Manor was quiet again, ready for tomorrow's corporate event. A tech conference where I was the keynote speaker, though my family would never know. Bianca had gotten her perfect wedding at the venue of her dreams. She'd maintained her certain image. And somewhere in the small print of her story, there was a footnote about an unsuccessful sister who owned it all. I was perfectly fine with that. Success, I'd learned, wasn't about who saw it. It was about building something real while everyone else worried about appearances. And tomorrow, while my family nursed champagne hangovers and counted wedding gifts, I'd be on a plane to Tokyo, building an empire they'd never acknowledge. Their loss. My freedom. The fireworks had been beautiful, though. Grandma Elena would have loved them.